The sanity meter. I've always been a loner, with pretty much no social life outside my job. My only companion is my vast array of masterfully assorted video games that I've been collecting for years. I don't talk much to my family at all, anymore, because of the numerous fallouts I've had with them over the years. I just honestly can't be around people who are slaves to the bottle. The simplest things became an over-exaggerated clusterfuck. Growing up was never easy with two drunken parents, who were, for most of the time, too blistered to even notice me. Video games were always an escape for me. I've been playing video games for nearly 20 years now. I have a weekly routine: work, eat, video games, sleep, and then retreat. I get a lot of my productive gaming done on the weekends. I sat down after work one night to indulge my obsession. I was feeling kind of nostalgic that evening, and my eyes found themselves wandering down at the GameCube section of my glorious and masterfully assorted video game shelf that I keep next to my TV. I eventually came across a title I haven't played in a long while: Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. When this game first came out, I was blown away by its fourth wall breaking tactics and suspenseful gameplay. It's truly an underrated classic in my opinion, and a must play for any survival horror enthusiasts. Forgive the nerd in me. The game has what's called a sanity meter. When enemies in the game glare at you, they sometimes emit a green glow from the eyes. This apparently drives your character insane, and things begin to happen in the game as your sanity meter depletes. This doesn't cause creepy shit to happen in the game, but also things like telling you your controller is disconnected, or the screen going black as if the TV shut off, will also occur. I don't want to spoil too much of the uninitiated, but in a nutshell, this game will fuck with you beyond the gameplay. So after playing it for about 3 hours, I hit a rough patch in chapter 4. Of course, this meant my sanity meter was depleting, and my character would randomly explode into a flashball. The screen would turn upside down or go completely black. But then something strange happened. During one of the blackouts, an ominous message appeared on the screen. It said, "Look in your attic." Then an image flashed on the screen. It was a close-up of someone's face. I only saw it for a split second, but it appeared to be a ghastly-looking woman with pale white eyes and sharp jagged teeth. She had a sickening grin on her face, with what appeared to be blood dripping from her mouth. Now, this kinda gave me the creeps, because I do, in fact, have an attic in my house. I only use it for storage, though. The image disappeared from the screen, and the gameplay went back to normal. I chalked it up to the imagination. After all, it was a long day at work, and I was getting ready to turn in soon. I continued to play the game for a bit longer. My character entered a new room in the game. Mind you, my sanity meter was still running dangerously low. As I entered, there were messages on the wall, written in blood that said, "Attic, check your attic," and "Look in the attic." Then the horrid face popped up on the screen again, coupled with the screaming sound effect. I decided to save out and turn the game off at that moment. I figured I was just hallucinating because of how tired I was become. As I was getting ready for bed, I heard Elise, though I heard a faint shuffling noise come from the attic. I instantly thought back to what I saw in the game. I thought I was being ridiculously paranoid, but I grabbed my Mac light and made my way down the hallway where the attic door was located. I gently pulled the string to the attic door and lowered the ladder. I slowly made my way up the ladder and took a deep breath. before poking my head into the dark attic. I raised my mag light and turned it on, and I recoiled as I saw the dead wide eyes of the horrid face from the internal darkness, marinating inches away from me. It was smiling at me, with the blood falling from my mouth in tiny rivers that dropped onto a dirty, white nightgown. The creature let out a shriek as it lunged at me, and I screamed and closed my eyes as I waited for its razor-sharp teeth to dig into my scalp. Nothing happened. I opened my eyes and there was no demon girl. I quickly shined my flashlight around the room, making sure I checked the entire attic. There was nothing in sight except for my storage. I breathed a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat off my brow. I guess my own sanity meter is depleting. I chuckled to myself. Before I made my descent down into the hallway again, I shined my mag light back over to the storage. 2 corpses, wrapped in a dirty old bedsheet, laying side by side. Good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. The Ishimura logs. Entry number 1. This is Fallen Tower, Mechanics Division. I just got back from Ishimura, from the colony on Aegis 7. I would say it's good to be back, but honestly, the change of scenery is underwhelming. The mining went smoothly for the most part. However, there's been reports that Aegis 7's core is becoming increasingly unstable. I've also heard rumors that one of the team has found something alien on the planet's surface. Everybody is on edge lately. There's been multiple murders and suicides reported in the last week. We've all been in deep space for nearly 2.5 years at this point, and I think it's taking a toll on everyone. I guess that's one of the reasons I'm making this log, to keep myself in check. As much as I would like to get some rest, my help is needed on the ship. Apparently, there's been some issues with the shock point dive, and if that thing goes, we're all righteously fucked. Fallen Tower, signing out. Entry number 2. Today I confirmed that the rumors are true. They found something on the surface of Aegis 7, and are bringing it on board on the Ishimura. The unitologists keep referring to it as the marker. I don't have the good feeling about this. They're going to detach a large landmass from Aegis 7 to extract this artifact. I'm actually somewhat familiar with the planet-cracking procedure. It's extremely dangerous. There's definite risk that this could cause the planet's magnetic fields to bleed out, if they pull too close to its core. And if the core's already shown signs of instability, as the earlier reports suggested, this may only further complicate things. I'm surprised that Capt. Matthias hasn't issued an evacuation of the colony before proceeding with the extraction, but CEC values its interests more than the lives of its employees. But if they're willing to shoulder its liability, I have a feeling that there's more to this artifact than they're letting on. Fallen Tower, signing out. Entry number 3. Things have been getting a bit strange around here. Until now, I've completely dismissed rumors of the other crew members, who've been claiming that they've been seeing things ever since they brought the mark on board. But I caught a dose of it myself a while ago. I was adjusting some levels of the gravity stabilizers and I could have sworn I saw my mother standing in the docking bay. My mother has been dead for almost 10 years. I don't know. Maybe it's just the effects of being in deep space for so long. We're all starting to see shit. Speaking of weird shit, I hear that someone from the colony killed 2 members of his dig team and is currently being detained in the infirmary. I think it's about time we got the fuck out of the Dodge. Well, at least I got the shock dive working properly again, so that's good news, I guess. I'm going to try and get some rest. Fallen Tower, signing out. Entry number 4. Oh god. Oh fuck. What the fuck is happening here? The crew, they've all changed into these monsters. Whatever they brought back from Aegis 7 is causing all of this. I don't know how it's going to sound. I'm having a hard time coming to grips with this situation myself, but whoever finds this, please listen to me. I woke up earlier to a loud crash that sounded like it came from the docking area. I'm sure everyone on board the ship felt it too. When I left my room, the halls are completely empty. An emergency alarm is going off. I tried accessing the docking area, but the blast doors were sealed shut, and I couldn't override the emergency protocol. I went to the infirmary to see if I could find anyone who knew what was going on. When I got there, there was blood everywhere. There were scattered body parts all over the floor. I heard someone crying in one of the operating rooms. I could just see who it was. It was a woman, crouching on the corner, facing away from me. I asked if she was okay. Then she turned her face to me. It was my mother. Her eyes were missing. She whispered to me. She told me that they wanted my body. I got the hell out of there as fast as I could. Before I left, I grabbed a surgical drill that was laying on the ground. I had a feeling that I would need it. When I went back outside, I heard a noise from the nearby corridor. What I saw can't be summed up by words. There were these creatures, hunched over body of a crew member, who was stabbing it with these arms that appeared to be producing from their backs. It was stabbing the body over and over again. I thought I was going to vomit, but the last thing I wanted was to let these things know I was here. Then I heard a deep growling coming from the direction of the infirmary. There were at least a dozen of those things running right towards me. I can still see their pale eyes bobbing up and down every time I close my eyes. I got back here as fast as I could. I can still hear the shrieking outside my door. I don't think the drill is going to provide much protection if they can get in here. Wait, my mom is back. She's pointing at something? I think she's pointing at me. Oh, I understand. This drill, it's not meant for those creatures. It's meant for me. They want my body. This is my flesh, my bone, my blood. This is Fallen Tower, signing off. Transmission terminated. The eyes in the void. Have you ever lain awake at night, sweating with terror at the thought of the oblivion, of ceasing to exist, and felt that the dark expanse of nothingness overwhelm you? That is indeed a thing of fear. Clive Barker. As a young boy, I was quite a dreamer. In my slumber, I would enter a fantastic world of spectacles. I can recall the enormous pillars that stretched out into the endless skies, the chaotic structures that spread across the infernal landscapes as far as the eye could see, the currents of the light hovering and intertwining with each other like moving wallpaper. I've come to realize that this world resides within the plane of existence, among with many others. There are only a select few with the power to traverse their own subconsciousness creations. I cannot justify these claims with any kind of proof, nor will I waste my time attempting to convince you that I'm not insane. I will simply tell you what I know in my soul to be truth. Nothing more, nothing less. This power is both a gift and a curse, for there is darkness that lies beyond my subconscious world. It's a dreadful place. It's a place where all the atrocities of humanity manifest themselves. It's a place that knows the fear within you and feeds on it. It's a place where you can witness all the horrors of the world, past, present, and future. It's a place I simply call the void. Unlike most children, I would often look forward to sleep. I wouldn't resist my parents when they told me to wash up and get ready for bed. After my mother would tuck me in, I would tell her to open the blinds so that the rays of the nearby streetlight would float into my room and act as a nightlight of sorts. I would then close my eyes and then wait to escape reality and return to the realm of creation I desperately longed to explore. It was night, like many others. It wasn't long after my folks put me to bed that I found myself enveloped in my subconsciousness. But I could feel that there was something different about this time. Once I fully transitioned into my astral body, my world of creation appeared to me as it had so many times before. However, there was a vast distance that separated us. As if I saw my world from the deck of a ship was far out at sea. Upon this realization, I noticed that a shroud of darkness surrounded my astral body. It quickly came over my form and enveloped me like a snake coiling over a trapped mouse. The moment I was completely submerged, I began to fall into an endless abyss of nothingness. A gripping, unforgettable terror consumed me as I was swallowed by despair, as I was plummeted into depths. Horrifying visions began to appear before me as I faced as children, jump roping under the flickering rays of streetlight, people fleeing from a burning village as bombs dropped from above, fields of disintegration in the aftermath of some bloody conflict, a woman being strangled by a drug addict vagrant in a dark alley, the sound of her choking, quite audible, men in suits, pointing and smiling as they walked among a row of frightened young girls. So many awful, horrible things. I then screamed into the darkness. No more! It was then I felt slimy tentacles of an unknown origin grabbing me all over. Once I was ensnarled, I was dragged down into a thick, suffocating liquid. I stretched my arms and legs, grasping for breath, trying desperately to escape. The darkness above me solidified, and I felt a crushing force come down upon me. There I was, in the darkness, trapped between the sludge and the unrelenting pressure. During the throes of my agony, I somehow managed to notice something dwelling in the distance. There was a faint glow of light. As this light drew closer, it became brighter, and I could see that its source were two glowing orbs. The ray of light expanded and illuminated my enveloped form. I then heard an unearthly shriek as my astral body was liberated. I turned to see an unspeakable form of dark twisted mass. I cannot adequately describe this hideous amalgamation. I can only remember that faces embedded within its surface. They shouted and screamed, begging me to free them. I was paralyzed, unable to do anything but watch the vile form of its hiss and spat at the brilliance as it sank back into nothingness. The pressure was lifted, and soon after, I found myself standing before the hovering orbs that had freed me from the monstrous entity. The blinking rays quickly faded back to a dim glow. I then was able to decipher that these hovering orbs, in fact, a pair of eyes. I knew that I had no reason to be afraid. I knew that whoever those eyes belonged to meant me no harm. A booming voice echoed out from all directions.
Hello, friend. It appears that you've lost your way.
A feeling of phobia washed away, and the gripping fear that had consumed me just moments ago, and I felt myself ascending. I did not ponder whether it was luck or fate that freed me from the cold depths of the void, but I was grateful to the angelic being with the glowing orbs for eyes. The orbs eventually became two barely visible glowing dots, and soon they too faded from view. I found myself looking at the painted sailboats that decorated my bedroom walls. I sat up and walked over to my bedroom window. I looked out at the streetlight that sat perfectly in its field of view. The light flickered and then died out.